grand final. Let's get into this. So we need to restart. All right, there we go. Okay, so I guess we should have a little mini poll here. We have Elkon or Nazo. Let's start that poll there. So best of luck to both of these players. Let's see, who do you think's gonna win? Two of you think Sappy's gonna come back, XD. Yeah, if that happens, I mean, what do we even do? But we are about 20 minutes late already, so, you know. Anyway, let's get into this first round, Nazo versus Elkon. So, one of these players will be going into the grand final. Elkon going here, taking a nice early lead. Nazo right behind. Nazo going up, going about the same lines. Elkon getting a little bit of air time, but he also has nice speed there. And Nazo makes the touch, so we can watch Elkon as he most likely takes home the first round win. This is going to go by relatively quickly here, because it's only going to be 3 rounds for a win, but we shall see how that turns out. Alright, so Elkon takes the first victory. So that's 1-0 for Elkon. So Nazo now taking an early lead. Let's follow Elkon. Elkon goes with much more speed into that turn. He gets a more inside line, good exit speed. Nazo with a little bit more speed, but Nazo touches once again, so Elkon may be able to just quickly take 2 round wins and would only need 1 more after this. So this is not looking too good for Nazo. Maybe not as warmed up and prepared as he would like. Probably a little bit worried about what it would mean for him if he did win. Would go in and make it into this match. One minute .29 by Elkon, very nice. Insanity mentioning some slight problems with this format, but hey, this is just adapting to the situation, trying to figure out who's the most prepared, and Elkon is looking to be the most prepared, possibly already getting 3 round wins in a row. So maybe this is just GG for Elkon. All he has to do is finish this. Yeah, I feel bad for Sappy as well, but like, I'm not gonna sit here. I have stuff that I have to do. I'm sure all these other players have stuff they have to do. You know, can't delay this grand final any longer. We need to make it happen, get it done. So It's the most fair thing that I can think of. I know that Snowman had some timetable issues and he was going to play, but then he dropped out of it because he knew that it would be overlapping with something. So it's just the most fair thing to do, is if you can't make it, then try to make things good for these players. So GG, Elkon plays the grand final. We're coming back. So yeah, true, Nazo. Yeah, I kind of wanted you to win a little bit, because when I saw Sappy win, I was like, yeah, I kind of expect him to not be able to make it, because he said he would be late at 2 o'clock. I'm like, okay, if he's going to be gone at 2, then, yeah. Anyway. So yeah, like, so here we are. This is going to be your new grand final, where Elkon has replaced Sappy, who unfortunately isn't here to play it. So we have Elkon versus Dyzrod versus Insanity and Firestorm. This should be a great battle among these giants in the dirt scene. Elkon not really being a dirt player, but he is fast overall, so we will probably be able to see some good stuff from him. So let's see how these players do. All having that very aggressive, you know, attacking line there. Finally get to see all these players playing in the same match as each other. So this should be good. This should be really good. Anyway, moving on. Here we go. Into the first round. Elkon versus Dyzrod versus Firestorm and Insanity. Good luck. Have fun to everyone. All right. So let's watch Elkon first. Elkon going for a very wide start, and Firestorm, it looks like, already had a major mistake, so he is out of it. And yes, this is the grand final. It's starting right now. This is the first round of the grand final. We have Insanity taking the lead, going for a very wide line. Elkon trailing just behind. He's going to be trying to catch up to Dyzrod and Insanity. Both two players who haven't been playing against each other on any of these matches, but both having very, very fast times on everything, setting, you know, just one step ahead of every other player. And I think Insanity versus Dyzrod is going to be the battle that we're going to be looking at today. And I mean, it is just so close. Dyzrod making a small blunder there, actually. Dyzrod falling behind, making another mistake. So Elkon actually getting a lot of speed through that section and could catch up to Insanity. He's going for a more inside line, still keeps the gear, goes for a little drift correction. Goes into a nose slide, goes wide, has more speed, and is actually going to overtake Insanity. And Elkon gets the first round win with a 1 minute flat .21. Wow. So Elkon, who came third in his semifinal match, wins the first round. Very great comeback for him. All right, I won't talk in the round, but Firestorm definitely a little scared of this first turn now, as he has mentioned in chat. Definitely something to worry about. So looking at Insanity, arguably one of the favorites among with Dyzrod going into this. Both players with a lot of very good dirt experience, so they both have a great chance at this. Dyzrod being a little bit behind. Let's take a look at Elkon. Elkon a little even further behind. Firestorm quite far behind. Probably has made a mistake. Looks like it was, well, a huge mistake actually. 5.7 seconds behind. So now let's go up. Look at Dyzrod versus Insanity. This is going to be the fight to watch. Both having insane pace. Very fast. Dyzrod getting a little bit more speed out of that. He's going to go for a slightly tighter line. Neither of them going for a no slide there. Both keeping their drift a little bit, maybe trying to get a bit of an SD. And Insanity versus Dyzrod. In the end, and Insanity does not pass Dyzrod. Once again, getting that first place sniped. So both Elkon and Dyzrod are going to be ahead of Insanity in the points here. So even though Insanity having a better average pace here with a 1 minute .08 is not enough to get first. So going into the third round, all the players are still very close. Firestorm not quite doing as well as he might have wanted to, but this is a stacked lineup, so he's going to need to push if he wants to get into those top positions. So looking ahead, we have Firestorm going a little bit wider. Dyzrod going for a more inside line, but then kind of recovers it. Definitely getting a lot more speed. Let's go look at Dyzrod as he trails behind Insanity. Insanity taking the lead in this round once again, always showing that he has the pace to go fast. And Dyzrod going into the second place, just barely staying behind here, keeping track, actually getting a lot more speed there than Insanity, quickly getting the gear by going in with a smaller, lighter jump. Dyzrod up ahead of Insanity. Insanity falling behind by a lot. Dyzrod is actually going to be on an insane time here for sure. Barely doesn't hit the wall there. And Dyzrod might be on a 59 here. Let's see. A 1 minute .005. Very nice time. So Elkon getting the last place position there with a 1 minute .99. So actually a decent round from all players. Nobody too dominant quite yet, except we have Firestorm still a little bit behind in the points. Let's take a look at Elkon, how he does this section. Elkon not a dirt main, but really just an all-rounder. Very good on every surface, so Elkon going here in the turn. We have Dyzrod and Insanity coming up and making this turn. Dyzrod making a mistake, so Insanity takes the lead. Elkon getting into that second place, so this is going to be very good for Elkon. He can get some more points, maybe surpass Insanity, or at least keep pace with him here, because Insanity's in the first place position. Elkon going for a much more inside line. Doesn't retain a ton of speed from it, so how worth it is it really? Almost hitting the checkpoint there, but he stays and stabilizes. So he is keeping pace with Insanity. Firestorm versus Dyzrod is a little bit of a battle back here. We have Firestorm going much wider. Dyzrod with more speed. Dyzrod is going to pass him. Looks like Insanity is going to be taking the first place. Firestorm getting passed by Dyzrod, and Insanity taking that first place position, as expected. I need to change this stream title to say Elkon. Alright, there we go. So going into the fourth, or maybe fifth round, I believe, we have Insanity and Dyzrod tied for 28 points. We have Elkon with 23 points and Firestorm with 13. Firestorm probably feeling a little shaky on this map, but yeah. Overall, not doing terribly, driving very good times. It's just that this is a stacked field, so it's going to be very hard for him to get in. Elkon and Firestorm have already battled each other in another match. I think the only odd one out here is Dyzrod, who hasn't played a match with these players, but Insanity knows that he can beat at least 2 of these players because he has done it before. So let's see how he will do it. But Insanity making a mistake, Elkon going to overtake him, and even Firestorm going to overtake him. So this is good for all of them and not good for Insanity. Insanity is going to lose some ground that he was gaining. Dyzrod going for that really high line, and he will get a decent time of 1 minute .15. Very nice. So looking at the points here, we have Firestorm, who dropped back into that last place. So he has 16 points. Dyzrod moving up with 38 points. Elkon down at 29. And that's it for the first map, Thief. So going into the warm-up here, we have Venom by Firestorm. Firestorm in the final here, so this is good for him. His own map on the final, so he should definitely feel comfortable on it, you would hope. And we showed that in the other match, Firestorm was very comfortable going through and getting all of those things. He was able to beat Elkon in the very end. Fortunately for Elkon, he's back in it. So Firestorm here in the lead in the warm-up. Going for that inside line. Don't know if that's faster or slower. Can't really tell on this map because it really depends on how much of that speed you retain all the way into the end. 1 minute 0.01 in the warm-up, not bad. In fact, that might be quite a good time, I'm not sure. So good luck to these players. Going into the second map, we have Venom by Firestorm. So let us follow Elkon right here. Elkon coming in from the little thing to replace Sappy. Elkon is very known for being an all-rounder. Right now he has a bit of a wonky start, but it will grant him a little bit more speed. He's able to catch up to the rest of these players, get in with the pack. Dyzrod and Insanity leading, of course. Firestorm just a little bit behind. They all get the good gear. Firestorm going a little bit wide. Dyzrod's definitely going to have the best line for speed retention there, and absolutely, we look up in the lead. Let's follow Insanity. Dyzrod just a little bit ahead, only by about 0.1, 0.08 now. Insanity going way too wide there. That's going to actually lose him just a little bit of speed. He was able to recover nicely. Insanity with a more direct line. Both players keeping their gear. They're all going wide. They're all going up into this. Dyzrod a little bit less wide, so he's going to have a touch less speed, but does it really matter? No, it doesn't, because he gets it the smoother buzz he touches. So Firestorm goes up, and he's going to be in first place, but is he going to be past Insanity? No, he's not. 0.01 between the two of them. Firestorm getting his first place on his own map. And this is going to be huge for Firestorm. He really needed that to get himself back in the game. And now we only have 15 points between first and fourth place, so this is a close battle. Let's watch Dyzrod here in the start, see how he does this. Going for the most tight line, so he does get the earliest entry, but he also retains the speed pretty well, so he is staying in that first place just by a little bit. Let's follow Insanity, who's slightly behind. All the players really close to each other. This is a great battle. Dyzrod making a mistake, so he is out of it. Dyzrod in first place, but he is probably not going to be there for long, especially after this round. Insanity going up, keeping that first place. Firestorm trailing behind him right there. Firestorm making a touch, so Elkon, 33 points, is now down, and he is down only by 0.17 of a second. Now 0.25. Insanity looking very good to take this round and guarantee that he's going to pass Dyzrod. All he has to do is finish it out, and he looks like he will. So Insanity with a 59.18. Very nice time. So looking back at the scores here, we see that Insanity is going to leap ahead of Dyzrod. So now 18 points between first and fourth place. So let's take a look at Firestorm. This is his own map. You would think he would do nice and well on it, but that last round wasn't perfect for him. So now Firestorm leading the pack, or trailing the pack right now. Elkon is well out of it by far. Firestorm is, they're all keeping that gear. Insanity getting the innermost line, so he's going to benefit from that the greatest. He's going to shoot up ahead. Dyzrod right next to them. Insanity getting a little bit of a wonky line. Dyzrod touching, risking a little bit too much, so Firestorm going for a very direct line. He's probably going to overtake Insanity here if he's able to hold it, and he does very nicely. He is able to stabilize his car, so he gets into first place. But he loses the gear from that, so that's not going to be good for him. And especially going into this turn, you want to have that gear kept for you. So Insanity is going to be in the lead. Will Insanity be able to keep it? Firestorm trying to gain some speed, but he won't, and Insanity is going to take that first place with a 58.96. So Firestorm was on a really good time up until that small mistake, even getting a 59.13 with that mistake. So very good time from Firestorm as well. So now 58 points for Insanity, 48 for Dyzrod, 42 for Elkon, and 36 for Firestorm. The field is spreading out a little bit. We're starting to see some differences in how these players are doing. But then again, this is only the second map, We have yet to go to revamped. And that one can change it all. Sounds like all of these players, I didn't hear any high gears, so I think they all stayed in that gear going in the downhill. That's very good for them. Nobody lost their gear. Dyzrod and Insanity battling here for this first place. Dyzrod is currently in second place, Insanity in first, so this is the battle to look at. This is the tale of two dominant dirt drivers. Insanity making a mistake, maybe falling down quite a bit. Not a big enough mistake to be passed by anyone. Dyzrod is going to hold on to it. Let's see what type of time Dyzrod is able to clock in here. He gets a 59.18, so Insanity would have had a 58 probably. High 58, so not bad. Very good driving from these players. Starting to see a little bit of more mistakes come out as players are probably realizing how much they need to risk and push on these maps. Check in on Elkon again. Elkon at 46 points. He is almost 20 points behind Insanity, so this field is really spreading out. Elkon getting a terrible start here. Let's see if he's able to catch it up over this round here. He does keep the gear. He loses the gear here though, so that's not going to be good for him. He's going to swing wide as well as Firestorm. Let's look at Insanity as he has the best line going through this, but Dyzrod actually keeping pace with him. Dyzrod being inside of Insanity practically. All three of these players driving right inside of each other. Firestorm going for the most aggressive line. Doesn't quite benefit him, but he does stay in the pack. All within 0.1 of a second of each other. Insanity going wide. Everyone keeping their gear, going up into this turn. Who's going to touch? Nobody touches magically. All these players pushing as much as they can without making any mistakes. So Insanity versus Dyzrod. Who is going to be taking this? Dyzrod overtakes Insanity in the end with a 59.01. And second with a 59.05. Third place with a 59.31. Very difficult to get into the top here with good points. So this match is not over. This match is just getting started. These players are trying to toss points back and forth with each other. Insanity versus Dyzrod, Elkon versus Firestorm, and after this map, who knows if we're going to have some replacements of where and when these players are going to be, you know, passing over some points to each other. If Elkon or Firestorm is better at this map than Insanity or Dyzrod, that could stabilize the playing field and just completely upset everything that we saw here. Dyzrod with a touch in the warm-up. Of course, in the warm-up, it doesn't matter. The idea is if you make a mistake in the warm-up, then you won't in the actual match. So maybe maybe Dyzrod is a bit superstitious like that. Elkon also making a mistake. The goal here is just keep your gear as long as you can until you get to this section. You're able to stay in that fourth gear for almost half the map. And then you get here and it is much more technical. So now Firestorm rounding this corner. Insanity going down. Firestorm doing little taps. Don't know if he's a keyboard player or a controller player, but when you're trying to do a nose slide on keyboard, it's very difficult. You just have to get tapping away. And Insanity driving a 103.57 in the warm-up. Wow. Insanity is feeling strong here for sure. For those of you who don't know, 0.45 is the world record by Dyzrod. So a 0.57 is fast. Anything below a 104 is really, really good to see. So let's take a look at Firestorm here. Dyzrod with the early slight mistake, but Firestorm making a much bigger mistake than that. So Elkon now moves down to third. Dyzrod having not made that big of a mistake, so he's able to come back and maybe even overtake Insanity. So Elkon a little bit farther behind. Let's take a look at Dyzrod right here. Dyzrod and Insanity, direct competitors for this first place prize. So who is going to take it? We have Dyzrod versus Insanity. They're both neck and neck right now, trying to get as much speed out of these little turns and optimizations as they can. Dyzrod going a little bit wider. He's going to have a little bit more speed. He's going to be put into a gear that makes this a little bit faster, but Insanity going inside is going to have the shorter lines. So they're both neck and neck now. Dyzrod versus Insanity. It's all going to come down to this last uphill turn. Insanity having a little bit more exit speed. Dyzrod pushing, trying to stay in that gear, but it looks like Insanity is going to take it with a 103.84, both getting sub 104s. Very nice times for both of them. So now, going into the next round here. Insanity at 80 points, Dyzrod at 74, Elkon at 53, and Firestorm at 46. We're starting to see the field spread out a little bit. Firestorm with an early mistake. Elkon also a little bit behind. Dyzrod versus Insanity is indeed the battle that we have to look at this entire match. It's looking like one of these players is going to take first and the other will take second, both being extremely strong on all three of these maps. Dyzrod staying a little bit ahead, Insanity trailing just a little bit. This would be good for Dyzrod because he's 6 points down and he would be able to close that to a two-point gap if he's able to stay ahead of Insanity here. But Insanity with an insane line, no pun intended, but that just comes with the name, I guess. Dyzrod going very risky, holding as much speed as he possibly can. Can he get a low line? And he does, so he's going to hold that speed through here, but Insanity as well, keeping a lot of speed. This is going to be a neck-and-neck battle between these two. Once again, we're seeing Dyzrod right behind Insanity in the end, and Insanity is going to get that first place with a 103.72. Both players with 103.7s. Insane times for both of them. 90 points to 80 points. These two players are absolutely out of their mind right now. Looks like Insanity. Dyzrod making an early mistake. I didn't even notice that, so Dyzrod is out of it and gives Insanity another free 10 points potentially, unless one of these top players, Elkon, the only one who could deny Insanity right now. He keeps the gear. Can he keep the second gear? He's going a little bit too wide. He loses that gear. It is very difficult to do those two turns, keeping your gear in both of them. It is incredibly difficult, but Insanity has it mastered. But he's only 0.14 behind. Elkon being much better at this technical section, and Insanity maybe feeling a little bit of nerves. Elkon going way wider, probably wants to get as much speed as he can. He will get more speed, but is it going to be enough? He ended up losing about 0.5 there. But then he actually catches it up a little bit, so he goes back down to a 0.2 of a gap, but this looks very good for Insanity. Insanity maybe going up with a very nice time. Let's see, what can Insanity clock in right now? And he gets a 104.02. Not bad. Not at the same pace, but probably realized he didn't need to push. Dyzrod was out of it, so he took it and relaxed and got a 104.02. Of course, not very relaxing for most of us to try and get that time, but for Insanity, that's probably his safing time. So let's take a look at Elkon again at 62 points. Elkon just a little bit ahead of Firestorm. We're really starting to see this pack spread out. Dyzrod going for that early lead. Let's see it from Insanity's perspective. Insanity and Firestorm right inside of each other. Dyzrod doing that beautifully. He cancels that drift and goes into a no slide in the banking. That's going to get him just a little bit of extra speed. And he keeps that gear, which is especially important. Insanity only 0.1 behind. 0.17 now, but he goes for a little bit more of an exit speed, which he will be able to catch up on Dyzrod. He goes much more inside than Dyzrod, as always, and this line always ends up paying off unless you touch, so Insanity is out of it. This is terrible. Firestorm making a mistake. Elkon also just a little bit behind, so Dyzrod gets an easy 10-pointer here, and he's going to be able to catch up just a little bit more to Insanity. Insanity isn't going to be able to walk away with this that easily, so Dyzrod is putting up a fight and has get a 103.60. Very nice time. That is within 0.15 of the world record on this map. He didn't even need to drive that time. That was pointless for him to risk that much, but he just wanted to flex a little bit, I guess, so very good for him. And this fight between Elkon and Firestorm isn't really decided either, because both these players are quite close to each other in the points, and though they're getting outshined by Insanity and Dyzrod, that being said, Dyzrod makes a mistake, they're actually able to do this very well. Insanity lost the gear, and as you can see, Firestorm keeps it, and just how much speed you can get out of that if you manage to snag that gear and hold it that entire section. This is so good for Firestorm. If he can get 10 points here, that'll give him a great opportunity to catch up to Elkon, who's 1.5 seconds down on the field, so there's no way he's going to be making money points on this. But can Firestorm hold off the beast? Insanity, who is coming down here, trying to get as much speed as possible. He goes for a very nice tight line. Firestorm and Insanity are both inside each other right now. Firestorm getting a little bit smoother of a landing. Can Firestorm push and make this? Insanity going for the most tight line he possibly can on that uphill, and he gets a 103.86. Very nice time for Insanity, who snags it from Firestorm. So Firestorm is not going to have an easy time being ahead of Insanity just yet. Or ahead of Firestorm. Wait. Firestorm is not going to have an easy time catching up to Elkon. I'm mixing up all my my relations between these players. But anyway, we're going back to Thief by Dyzrod and Hunter. So 2 of the finalists both have a map in this pool, and the caster, yours truly, also has a map in the pool. So kind of interesting how that works. Anyway, going in to the first round, back on Thief. Insanity making a little bit of a touch there. Dyzrod doing a nice little line there. Elkon tossing his wheel up into the air. This is very interesting for all these players. So looking at this, we have Insanity at 114. He could become a finalist in just one more round. All he has to do is get first or second. So this is not looking good for Dyzrod. Dyzrod has to put just a little bit more pressure on them. So Dyzrod at 98 points, the fastest he could get finalist is having to do a round getting to 108, then 118, and then finalist. So he would need to do 4 wins in a row to guarantee his victory, which against a beast like Insanity is very difficult to do. So let's see. Thank you, Pizzle, for the raid. So right now we are in the grand finals. Elkon versus Insanity versus Dyzrod and Firestorm. Let's take a look from Insanity's perspective. Dyzrod, or no, is that Firestorm making the early mistake? So Elkon going into this beginning. Insanity with a very tight inside line. Elkon just a little bit behind. So these 2 players are doing very well right now. Insanity showing his dominance on this map. Dyzrod going into the little bit of a touch there, so Elkon gets to take over, and this is not looking good for Dyzrod. Dyzrod showing his strength on a lot of the prior maps, but this time around, Insanity looks like he knows what he's doing. Insanity is not going to throw this away. He is too good of a player to throw this lead away, so Insanity will most likely go into finalist mode, and all he has to do is win 1 more round, and he will become a champion of edition #1 of Nixotica's Dirt Cup. So good luck to Insanity in his first place, potentially. So now Firestorm going up just a little bit behind. Elkon also a little bit trailing behind. Let's take a look at Dyzrod. This is the fight we want to see. Dyzrod versus Insanity. Insanity trying to get this victory in his hands. Insanity going up, but Dyzrod with a little bit more speed, but he touches, so this is terrible for Dyzrod. He may as well have just signed off the papers to Insanity, giving him a check for that $50. So Insanity is so close. He can almost taste it. Elkon going for an attack. Elkon getting a lot more speed. Elkon might be able to save Dyzrod here. Can he do it? Elkon is just a little bit behind. He gets much less speed out of that from Insanity, though. But can he do it? One more turn here. He gets a little bit more speed. He gets a little bit more speed than Insanity. Can Elkon deny Insanity? Insanity going for less of an inside line, and Insanity gets passed by Elkon and saved. Oh my god. Dyzrod is saved, and he gets one more round to try to attack and get this first place. Dyzrod only getting 3 points though, so he needs to go up to 120 points to become a finalist. So Dyzrod getting close here, but no guarantee yet. Insanity can feel nice and relieved that he has such a good barrier between him and Dyzrod. Dyzrod and Insanity basically inside of each other now. Insanity going through, no touches being made on this uphill. Usually a very decisive uphill. Here is the most decisive turn here. Dyzrod going inside, but Insanity with more speed, but it doesn't matter because he ends up losing some of his ground on Dyzrod. They both go for this outside line. Elkon being the one who goes for the inside line, and Elkon not quite catching up with them, but it does gain them time. So Elkon trailing just behind. Let's take a look from Insanity's perspective, just behind Dyzrod. He needs to push if he wants to win here. He wants to get in here, and Dyzrod just barely pulling ahead. Elkon also maybe passing him. Is Elkon going to take the snipe? And no, Dyzrod gets the first place by 0.05 of a second. So now Dyzrod versus Insanity is getting closer. One more round and it'll be all tied up. Double finalist situation for the victory between Dyzrod and Insanity. Who will be the dirt master after this match? So going into the first turn, Insanity has a great lead. Let's take a look from, let's take a look from Elkon's perspective. Dyzrod making a touch, and Firestorm both making a touch. They're both so far behind now. Elkon is the only one who can stop this. Now that being said, Elkon does have an advantage in one of those turns where his turn can result in him catching up to Insanity. He goes for a very inside line, which these other players don't go for. So let's see, is he going to do it, and will it pay off? Goes for the risk, but he touches, and Insanity looks like he is going to go and take the first place. Let's watch Insanity and see if he will be victorious. Just one more turn. All he has to do is not choke this, and Insanity wins NDC Edition 1. Insanity is your victor with a 1 minute .03. GG. Insanity is the winner of Edition 1 of the NDC. And Dyzrod moves up into finalists. So let's watch this. Let's see, can Dyzrod quickly close this out and take that second place? Oh, Dyzrod making a mistake already. So let's look at Elkon. Dyzrod is how far? That is not going to give him enough time to catch up. So taking a look from Firestorm perspective, Elkon having a very slow uphill, it looks like. Firestorm might be able to take first here in this round. Let's see. Firestorm getting it nice and smooth. But then again, let's take a look from Elkon's perspective, because he does this inside line, which ends up gaining him not much speed because he lost that gear there. It puts you into a very strange gear when you try to put that, do that inside line. So looks like he ended up losing it in that turn. Firestorm is likely going to take this first place. And given those points, wait, but hold on. Elkon with the snipe? Elkon takes it by less than a hundredth of a second. Oh my god. Wow. So that is going to matter a little bit, because he's going to stay ahead of Elkon in points. So that is very big for him. Now we're moving on to Venom by Firestorm. So the second time that we're going to be seeing this map. We have Dyzrod as our finalist. We have Elkon at 104 and Firestorm at 82. Can Dyzrod close it out, or will he be denied multiple times? All Elkon needs is 3 victories in a row, and he could come in second place after being relegated completely. So looking at this warm-up here, Dyzrod getting a bit of a touch. Yeah, the gears, holding the gears in this in these maps is very hard in a lot of sections. Requires very precise and expert turns. So let's take a look at Elkon going into the finish. Firestorm with a 59.52, not bad. But it is just the warm-up after all, so let's watch from the finalists' perspective. Dyzrod going for that second place. Can he lock it in? Good luck and have fun to everyone. So now, Dyzrod going into this first term. Firestorm versus Elkon. Let's see. Firestorm keeping pace, going past Elkon. Elkon dropping a lot. Dyzrod losing the gear, Firestorm keeps it. So Firestorm is going to have an advantage there, but Dyzrod does have enough speed, a little bit more than Firestorm going into this turn. And if he can carry it, that's huge. Firestorm making a touch, and it looks like this is GG for Dyzrod. This might be just a free second place for Dyzrod. Let's take a look from Elkon's perspective. He's trying to close in. He's trying to close that gap. He has a little bit more speed than Dyzrod. Can he hold it through this turn? Is Elkon going to be able to catch up? And it doesn't look like it. If Dyzrod just makes this jump, Dyzrod comes in second place and is the second place for NDC Edition 1. Uh-oh. Okay, wait. 110 to 86. Okay, 110 to 86. So we need to go back to Venom. 3 rounds on Venom, then... Okay. We jump to... I think it was 4 rounds. You gotta turn it off. Yeah, but if you do that, then you just... Yeah. Next time I do this, I'm just gonna actually rent a proper server. That would be much better. Also probably have a nice interface. The Evo server, well, that one I didn't want to change because that one's set up specifically for the endurance race. So my Evo server, because there's no like interface to easily swap between game modes myself, I would have had to have asked them to do everything for NDC, and I was figuring, nah, I'll just I'll later bring it up as another competition that could potentially benefit from it. So 110 for Elkon, 86 for Firestorm. That's what we're looking at right now. We accidentally forgot to I forgot to change it from 2 winners to 3 winners. So now Firestorm versus Elkon. If Elkon comes in first here, he will go into the into finalist mode, which will be great for him. Firestorm going here and pulling through with a little bit more speed. Elkon getting a very bumpy entry. This is Firestorm's map, so arguably he is at the advantage. So Elkon coming down into this turn. Hello? Okay, they both make a mistake in the exact same turn, and Elkon keeps the gear, and they're both neck and neck, and yeah, nothing changed. So they are now right inside of each other after a mistake, and Elkon may be able to go into finalist mode because they both made that bump in the same turn. But it's not decided yet. Let's take a look at Firestorm's perspective. Firestorm going through, maybe passing Elkon, and getting that first place potentially, if he can. And he will with a 1 minute point 74. So we go to 116 to 96. So, Elkon versus Firestorm. Story is not written yet. Elkon coming through from the bye, taking Sappy's spot, who was too late for the match. So Firestorm here going through. Elkon making a bump, so Firestorm actually is going to take this. Doesn't matter. So long as Elkon finishes, he will go into finalist mode in the next round, but this will be good for Firestorm's points because he's at 96 right now. So if he wins this, he'll go up to 106 and have a few more opportunities to potentially come in that third place position. So now, Firestorm is going to round these corners and probably take it in front of Elkon. Will he do it? It's going very close on that uphill. And Firestorm takes it, so we get finalists to 106. Uphill, yes. Anyway, moving on. Firestorm is now in the seat where he doesn't really want to be. He has to deny Elkon every single round now. So Elkon knows he has a lot of rounds here. He has exactly 3 rounds to spare. He can lose 2 rounds, but he cannot lose 3, or else it will go to Firestorm. So Elkon coming through, a little bit less speed than Firestorm. Firestorm having a little bit more going into this turn. He takes it much wider than Elkon too. They both keep the gear, but Elkon much worse than Firestorm in that turn. So Firestorm goes down this hill much more directly, keeps his speed. Firestorm may be able to deny Elkon on his first finalist attempt. Let's see. Elkon loses the gear. Firestorm going so close that he almost touches, but he's still fine. Firestorm in this last turn, all he has to do is not make a mistake, and he will deny it from Elkon with a 59.01. Finalist to 116. Firestorm looking really strong here. All he has to do is win 2 more and he comes in 3rd place, getting himself on the podium. So now Firestorm versus Elkon. This final round, potentially, for Elkon. All he has to do is beat Firestorm on this round, which would be great for him, because then he would have less pressure. But if he doesn't, then Firestorm has the chance to beat him. Elkon getting much more speed, but he touches, and Firestorm is going to turn it into another double finalist situation. So Firestorm coming through here. All he has to do is finish. Don't make any mistakes. He is taking this much safer than he usually would. He is going so safe now. So Elkon is choking here a little bit. Double finalist situation. Let's see. Who can take this? And we move on to Revamped. This is the first time that we have had to go to revamped for a second time. So this map will be the one deciding it. We'll let them have their warm-up. Rigged, yeah. Well, it was rigged for Firestorm's favor when we were on his map, but now we're on my map, so. We will see. It all comes down to a single round for these players. Everything comes down to this round. Rigged in my favor. Yeah, if I were playing, then it would be. Someone else needs to organize a dirt cup so I can play it, by the way. Anyway, going down here into these turns. Elkon doing a very wide line there for some reason. And we saw Firestorm, I believe. I don't know what line he does. I know Insanity does a really inside line. Play my own cup. So, the winner of this round is going to be taking the third place home. Let's watch it from Elkon's perspective. Are they going to give us a good fight, or will one of them choke and touch? Elkon making a small gear mistake there, not getting it as well, and he touches too! So this might be the early GG for Firestorm. Elkon throwing it away in favor of Firestorm. So Elkon coming through and getting that fourth place potentially. All he has to do is try to catch up to Firestorm right now, but he simply cannot. So let us see now. Elkon versus Firestorm. Firestorm going down. Elkon going for that wider line, but I don't know if that's going to pay off. He tries to get more speed, but it really doesn't make him catch up any. He goes from 0.79 to 0.59, so a little bit of a catch up. He has to pray that Firestorm makes a mistake here, and Firestorm makes the mistake, and Elkon overtakes him. Firestorm is too far down to overtake, so Elkon is actually going to take the third place, and he almost touches, but Elkon comes back and wins it, and comes in third place. Oh my god. And there we go. That is the GG and the end of Exotica's Dirt Cup Edition 1. Firestorm hanging on to the magnet block. And wow. Hello, Peanut Leg. That is it. So let us go into the display here. First place winner is Insanity TM. He'll be getting $50. Second place